Okay, Brew, your number one takeaway from this game was what?
Well, first, I have to comment on Ant. I love that. I love that he is going at LeBron. It's all competition because we know he looks up to LeBron, said he's like a big brother to him during the Olympics and all that. But if you think about LeBron's career, I feel like very few guys have just gone at him. Like, Ant is like, look, I know we friends off the court, but I am going for your throat on the court.
And the guys who have, Dylan Brooks or Deshaun Stevenson, they're not stars. You know what I mean? Not stars.
Of stars, I think Paul Pierce and Kobe.
Yeah.
I don't think Wade, I feel like I know they competed, they both had great games, but I don't feel like he went to attack LeBron like this. So I love, and this is what he did with KD last year, too.
Yep.
He went at him. So there's that. But this series is boiling down to one phrase to me: changing of the guard.
Oh.
Anthony Edwards is asserting, and thus far has asserted himself as the best player in this series. Now, I know the statistics show that both LeBron and Luka are having a better series statistically. But when you talk about impact on the game, it is Anthony Edwards who is dominating. And really, we're seeing it in the clutch, down the stretch, not just the fourth quarter, but the last 5 minutes of game. So yesterday, Lakers up 10 starting the fourth quarter, up 7 with about 5 minutes left. And then here's what happens. Anthony Edwards goes ahead and scores five points from that point on. Luka goes 1 for 6 in the fourth quarter. Luka has no points, no assists. LeBron has no points, no assists. LeBron didn't score any in the fourth. And then, of course, LeBron had the turnover. He made some great defensive plays, but had that turnover with 30 seconds left on the pass. That was game 4 yesterday. Game 3, Luka, 2 points in the clutch. LeBron, no points in the clutch, last 5 minutes. And Anthony Edwards, 7 points down the stretch. Here's a graphic of what these three superstars have done down the stretch of the last 2 games. Last 5 minutes, last 2 games combined. You see Anthony Edwards has 12 points, shooting 50% from the floor, getting to the line. LeBron and Luka haven't done anything offensively. And yesterday, Nick, the role players stepped up for both teams in the stretch. Reeves, Rui, DFS hit a 3.
Game 3, Rui had a brutal end of game. Game 4, the role players played
they all hit 3. And the same thing for the Wolves. McDaniels played well. Nasri hit 2 threes, I think 8 points altogether. But Anthony Edwards down the stretch has asserted himself as the best player in this series. And the series games are close. It's that little bit of difference that's making the difference.
And listen, I think all of us, in all seriousness, thought if the games are close down the stretch, it favors the Lakers.
Yes.
And it did.
And it didn't. I mean,
it should. In the regular season, the Wolves
that's what I was
were one of the worst defensive teams in the league. The Lakers, in
one
the
of
clutch.
the worst clutch teams. Correct.
Anthony Edwards might have been clutch player of the year had they won more games. They were under 500 in the clutch. Lakers were well over 500, so I agree.
Right,
I thought
that it was, if it's in the balance late, it should favor the Lakers, and maybe, it would have if they weren't dog tired, and we'll get to that more in a bit. But this is, the Ant piece of it is Ant's rapidly growing resume. He's 23 years old. Last year, he knocked off Durant and Booker, and then Joker and Murray, and then Luka got him. And now he has a chance to knock off Luka and LeBron to get even on Luka. And then in the next round, potentially knock off Steph or maybe Şengün.
I like Şengün in that company.
Butler, Draymond.
Imagine it. Yeah. And it's a real possibility.
Yeah.
So I know what you're saying about that the numbers say, what the...
Statistically, both of those guys are ahead of
this series, to me, and the reason... One of the biggest reasons the Lakers are down 3-1 is because the guy who was supposed to be the best player in the series has been the third best. Because it has been Ant, LeBron, Luka. Yep. And LeBron has been wildly impactful on the defensive end. It hasn't mattered. You know what I mean? He has been incredibly efficient. Yesterday, he only took 9 shots. He was getting the free throw line a ton.
That has to be some type of record.
Correct. and it's also got to be the most free throws I think it's the most free throws he's shot in a game in his Lakers career, I think. But regardless, what this is going to start, in fact, I'm sure it already has started, is an earnest, honest discussion that is Anthony Edwards just better than Luka Doncic? And going into this series, they were both superstars. Ant was a fringe MVP candidate this year. Luka had been a perennial MVP candidate when he'd been healthy. And Luka had thoroughly outplayed him in the series before. Yep. And Luka's a little bit older, whatever it is. Going into this series, I had Luka in the superstar tier above where Ant is. The superstar tier with Joker and Giannis and Luka, it was a 3-person tier. Ant, I don't know if this is a mix of Luka dropping into the tier beneath where he was, or Ant ascending into the tier above. And I also don't want to be so momentarily prisoner of the moment because we did see Luka outplay him in a playoff series 12 months ago. And part of this is a game where Luka wasn't 100%. But Ant's relentless energy, ability to impact the game on both sides. It's the first 40-point game by any player these playoffs. I thought Bron was going to get that Friday night, and then he was stuck on 38 for the end of the game. He's been remarkable, and he has upped his assists, his playmaking. He's been, like you said, active on defense. He's been great.
I think that's a great point because that's what I've been thinking is Anthony Edwards is surpassing Luka.
Wow.
Look, these things are fluid.
Yep.
Was it Giannis? Was it Jokic? They've gone back and forth. Then it became Jokic. But right now, because he is a great defender. I'm not saying, Jaden McDaniels is probably a better defender, but there's some in the league. But Anthony Edwards is a great defender. The other thing is he gets his offense, even though he'll have the ball in his hands sometimes, it's in the flow. It's in the system. Luka has much better numbers than Ant always, because some of it he's always has the ball and he's ball dominant, so you're going to have more assists and even more points. But in the flow of the game, I think Ant gets his within the team framework. And then they were hunting Luka again yesterday defensively, and obviously you don't do that for Anthony Edwards. So we'll see how this pans out. But they win this series, and we'll see how far Minnesota could go.
Correct.
He's certainly making a charge for that. Yeah.
All right, as for the Lakers, J.J. Redick's decision to not rest anyone might deliver an early vacation for L.A. 5 players played the entire second half. That hadn't been done since they started tracking plays almost 30 years ago. Okay. Is L.A. done?
Well, look, let me say this about Redick playing these guys the whole second half. He's done a great job this year. There's no question about it. He's been a good coach. And I like his thought process of let's go for it. Obviously the series isn't technically over, but he's like, we can't get down 3-1. We got to win this game. We don't play again till Wednesday, so let's go for it. I like that. However, that was a mistake. There's a reason he's the first person in recorded history to do this.
Yes.
Sure, you would love to play all your best players the entire game if you could, you know? And so,
light bulb goes off. How about all the players all the time?
Right, it's like some analytic discovery. So that was a mistake. Look, they weren't great down the stretch of game 3 either. They obviously weren't great yesterday. Anthony Edwards played the entire game yesterday. Now, he's younger, but he played the entire second half as well yesterday, not the game. But I think that was clearly a mistake by Redick. That said, is it over? I'm not just going to hop around on picks. I picked the Lakers to win it. I'll stick with them. But, they're on life support, and I think they're going down. If you had to call it right now. But here's why. It is a tough matchup for them. What?
Well, no,
I'm not going to sit here and bounce back and forth every game and change my pick.
No, go on about how it's a tough matchup.
No, it is. The size of the Timberwolves is killing them, even though Gobert is not that good. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I can't even speak.
I'm not saying anything. I didn't say anything.
No, I'm trying to make a go ahead.
The Wolves are tall.
This is where since you're going to interrupt Rue with your
I
face.
didn't interrupt.
We want to hear from you.
You did.
We want to hear from you.
I picked the Lakers.
Guys, I picked the Lakers. That's the problem.
Then don't be patronizing the
room.
room.
No, that's the problem.
You were.
You didn't. You wanted the T-Wolves.
And you didn't have the courage.
You didn't go with them.
And now
you wanted them deep in here. You should have went with them.
Hold on. And now you are going to act like it was obvious. When Brew is going to lay out there smartly the advantages the Timberwolves had, which we all knew, and we all decided were not going to be enough to overcome the advantage the Lakers had in having, theoretically, the two best players in the series.
Yes.
We all thought that.
Yes.
And right. So your smug look while Brew is giving cogent analysis is unbecoming of a national treasure.
I
now,
apologize.
Okay, thank you for apologizing.
No, do
to
your
Brew.
thing.
No, let me
Go
answer
ahead, go
first.
ahead.
I don't think they're done for the series. I do think they're done. Because
So you think if they win this,
yes,
they
because here's why. They play Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
Here's the schedule the rest of the way. If they were to make the finals, they play the 30th, the 2nd, the 4th, the 6th, the 8th, the 10th, the 12th, the 14th, the 16th, the 18th, the 20th, 22nd, 24th, 26th. They play every other day. After Wednesday, it would be every other day. Now, if you win a series early, obviously you would have some days off,
Right.
but they're not winning this one early if they are winning it. And here's the other reason. JJ thinks they're done, Wilds.
I know.
you feel that way.
I do feel that way because JJ made it clear I trust 5 guys on this whole team. And that's not enough. We see a lot of times, Brew, your 2 best players play the entire second half. That happens all the time. It's rare one of those guys is at 70,000 minutes and 40 years old, but LeBron has a weird brain where he knows, like, how much energy he has left and where to disperse it. Because he had it on the defense.
He played great defense.
This was in reverse of what we've seen in the past when they had AD.
Yeah.
When he would be, you know what I mean? He would not really have the energy defensively, lean on AD. He thought, okay, I can lean on Luka for the offense. I've got to save it for the defensive end. And I thought they were going to, after blowing it, steal it. After LeBron got the block and the steal on consecutive possessions, and they have the ball up to a minute left, and LeBron is honestly chilling out on the deep wing. Luka, you have the ball a minute left, a bucket and you win the game. And Luka was more gassed than LeBron, ends up pitching it to LeBron, and LeBron takes a deep 3, misses it, and then the game goes to hell. The Austin Reeves foul is a killer. They did a great job of preventing a 3 there up to no threes. The Austin Reeves foul happens. But my problem for the Lakers is, and I think JJ's been excellent this year. I do think he's been a marked improvement on Darvin Ham. I also think this was a cataclysmic decision, evidenced by the fact no coach in NBA history has ever made it.
That's the crazy part.
And by the way, like you saw, the Nuggets ended up surviving it, but the Nuggets had a similar approach, not quite as drastic, in their second half. And they got boat raced in the fourth quarter as well from the more rested team. And then I'll give it to you. I remember a decade ago talking to Daryl Morey when he was running the Rockets, and I was doing radio there. And somehow coaching came up. And he just offered up. He's like, oh, I'd be a terrible coach. I'm like, why? He's like, well, I'd just only play my best guys. He's like, I just wouldn't take my best players out. He goes, when I'm watching the game, every time James is when Harden was his peak. Every time James on the bench, I'm like, put him in the game. And I think that's how a lot of people feel. But the coach has to feel the game. And JJ's saying to the media, I told the guys to let me know if they need a blow. They're not going to do that.
Like, get me out.
And that's
like Anthony Richardson.
Right, Anthony Richardson's like,
1 point game, LeBron. I got to go.
And the thing is, with Jackson Hayes, I know he only played 4 minutes. He got the 2 fouls. He did have 3 rebounds in those 4 minutes. And when he's not in there, and I'm not saying they got to play him all the time. No. But when he's not in there, you take away that lob threat from Luka. Now, here's what I was going to say about the T-Wolves. They are one of the few teams, and Nick, you talked about this when Luka and LeBron joined forces. They're not big as a team, but they're big on the wings, right? Well, the T-Wolves are one of the few teams that can match their size on the wing. Nas Reed, Jaden McDaniels, Julius Randle, who's having a great series. Congratulations to him. They're all 6'9", and Ant is a strong 6'4". So they're not only 6'9", but they're athletic, they're long, and they're making it tough on Luka and LeBron offensively, even as they're getting their numbers. Jaden McDaniels is all over Luka. I mean, Luka's getting numbers, but he is making it tough on him. So that makes this a tough matchup for the Lakers. And look, we'll see. I'll never write off a team with Luka and LeBron. But, yeah, obviously it looks like
they needed to be the more rested team going into round 2. And now, if they make it to round 2, it's going to have taken an absolute...
It could be the same on the other side, too.
I understand, but I just think
know.
they're in... Go ahead, Wilds.
Well, Jackson Hayes played...
Your guy.
Yeah, 30 minutes, 7 points, 8 rebounds, and a block for the entire series. So just giving you four points, not getting it done. Josh gave me this stat. Home teams hosting Game 5, down 3-1, win the series about 8% of the time. So that's the... this is reluctant.
Is this the gentleman? Oh. Yeah, that's what it is.
Seems like it's that time.
You don't get to do this first game.
Didn't you pick the Lakers?
We've had our disagreements. But it's
apple
time
juice.
to... Oh, smooth. Smooth like a gentleman's sweep. So we talked about how the Lakers done. I just want to talk about Game 5 specifically. And we've had our differences. But let's not be disagreeable, right? We can disagree, let's not be disagreeable. How do you see Game 5 playing out?
I see Game 5 playing out the way Vegas does. I think the Lakers win.
I'll go with the Lakers.
How do you see Game 5 playing out? Since you are doing a gentleman's sweep
Go all
bid,
the way through.
can you actually, for the first time all
Can I tell you
playoffs,
something?
make a prediction with bass in your voice that you will stand by?
I do this through gritted teeth.
Right, so who do you have for Game 5?
Whenever a series is 3-1, it's like a smoke alarm in your house. The alarms go off and the gentleman music has to hit. LeBron down 3-1. Actually, I have the Lakers winning.
No, you don't get to do that.
So you're picking the Lakers in
No,
Game
he's
5?
not.
I actually think I think
I
we're
think
due
they
for
win
an
Game 5.
He's not.
epic Luka game.
I don't know, man.
Really?
I don't know. I don't know. I honestly, I don't know.
Like one of those Phoenix games.
We had what will go down. The overwhelming odds are Friday night will be the most points LeBron scores in a playoff game the rest of his career. He had 38. You know what I mean? Like he's probably not going to have a 40-point game from here on out. It was that game got wasted. Last night, it's back-to-back games where LeBron has had 20-point halves. Luka, offensively played pretty well yesterday. They lost anyway. I don't think we're all of a sudden going to have maybe a Luka explosion. It's more about, for the Lakers to have any shot in the series, a game that they blow the Timberwolves out and can sit
because they've been fine throughout the game. It's been in the clutch.
They've lost the fourth quarter by 36 points this series.
And they've lost the last 5 minutes in each quarter, 32-12 the last two games. Ant has scored as much as the Lakers by himself.
All right, before we go, we want to talk about the bad news out of Milwaukee. Dame officially has an Achilles tear. Bucks lost the game and their second best player. Brew, we'll start with you. Your reaction to this bad news.
I mean, it's just terrible. Like, first of all, credit to Dame. He went out there and, after the blood clots and tried to play. Clearly wasn't himself. I think he's 6 for 25 in the 2 games he played, 2.5 games, whatever it was. And this is devastating, not only for this series, but he'll be 35 in July.
Yep.
And so it's devastating for him, possibly even his career. I mean, he could probably come back and play, but how will it impact him?
But not next year.
Yeah, he'll probably miss, basically all of next year, if not the whole season. And then for the Bucks, look, this will be the 3rd straight time they're eliminated in the first round. This should be Giannis's last season in Milwaukee. Yeah. Bucks can get mad. Fans can get mad. It's Alper and Şengün, some other players, and some draft picks. If Giannis goes to the Bucks and says, it's time to go. He's given him more years than Kareem did, gave him a championship. Who says no?
Yeah, so listen, that is – we'll get more into the Bucks trade stuff in the offseason. The tricky part is they do not have their own pick the next 5 drafts.
Right.
So, they can't be like – they've either traded away or swapped. So they can't bottom. You know what I mean? So maybe the Şengün thing that
get a bunch of picks.
Hooked up this past week. Last night was probably the last night that Dame Lillard is Dame Lillard. And probably the last game Giannis Antetokounmpo plays in Milwaukee as a Buck.
Man.
And it's just I mean, I think they're going to lose the next game, not get back there, and then it's the offseason. I feel at sports sick to my stomach for Damian Lillard, who has to be feeling like, man, I pushed every button I could to get back just to give us a shot in these playoffs when we really didn't have a shot in these playoffs. And now I'm not going to have next season. And who knows how. I understand Durant has kind of tricked us into how this recovery works, but it's not always as seamless as it was for Kevin.
And he was still younger at that point.
And he missed a full year, and he's a foot taller. You know what I mean? And so it just sucks. It sucks for Dame, and it sucks for the Bucks fans. And I just feel like Giannis's next game probably isn't somewhere other than Milwaukee.
I looked up the Durant time frame because I think maybe Kirk Cousins and Aaron Rodgers have skewed our perspective. Durant had 552 days between his injury and his first
But that's what it would be for Dame if he was the beginning of the season after next.
So it's Sunday, November 1st, 2026 would be the first time you could come back.
Which is the beginning of the next season.
Way away. But best of luck to Dame.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.